Imagine you are a female wolf, completely wild, 4 feet on the Siberian snow. Your breath puffing out in white smoke. You are an independent apex predator. Now imagine you are standing at the edge of the darkness, a distance of 15 meters, frighteningly close, separating you from a circle of fire full of creatures that have killed thousands of your ancestral wolves if they wanted to. Humans, those stone spear throwers, creatures that can coordinate hunts in packs, can set traps in the dark while you just stand there with your ears pricked up. Yet, you take one step closer. Why? You would think every wild wolf would avoid the human fire circle every night, like avoiding a death trap, and for 800,000 years they did. And the reason some wolves began not to do that is not just one thing. It has never been just one thing. There are layered explanations, each more unbelievable than the last, and together they paint a picture of a strange, invisible agreement between humans and another apex predator species. An agreement older than civilization, older than agriculture, older than anything we usually think of as human history. This goes deep. Let us begin. You right now watching or reading this probably have a pet dog, perhaps thinking your ancestors led the first wolf into the cave with a leather leash. But humans as a species in the story of wolf domestication, we are actually not the main subject, not in the clear way when reading history books. There is no bone fragment with a collar mark. There is no cave painting depicting a person leading a wolf through the snow. There is no stone tool identified as a wolf training whip. On the archaeological paper, the scene of prehistoric people dragging wolf pups into the cave is quite a myth without evidence. That is 20th century fanfic, Disney with white fang, children's books with drawings of people in animal skins dragging wolves, documentaries with a warm, deep narrator's voice. Yet, a study by the group of Anders Bergström and Pontus Skoglund at the Francis Crick Institute in London found something remarkable. They sequenced 72 ancient wolf genomes spanning 100,000 years, from Europe, Siberia to North America. The largest dataset ever on prehistoric wolves, published in Nature in 2022. And those wolves showed something strange. They showed the gene IFT88, a gene related to craniofacial development, the same gene that when disordered causes cleft lip and palate in humans, rising from nearly 0% to 100% in the period from 40,000 to 30,000 years ago. These are creatures that survived the Ice Age when mammoths, saber-toothed cats, cave bears, giant sloths all went extinct. Creatures with such high genetic connectivity that feast is under 3% between packs thousands of kilometers apart. Creatures that are objectively independent predator units, and they changed their skull structure in 10,000 years. That is not a one-time result. The same study shows modern dogs do not have a single ancestor. Ancient Levantine dogs from 7,200 years ago carry 56% Near Eastern wolf ancestry. African Basenjis, 37%. European Neolithic dogs, 5 to 25%. Two different wolf populations, two different places in Eurasia, at the same time, making the same decision to step out of the darkness. From an evolutionary perspective, that is something nearly impossible. Two independent apex predators voluntarily approaching the same other species in the same time frame is working against 800,000 years of ancestral instinct. The calories burned to avoid humans throughout the history of Canis lupus are not replenished, and they still did so because the benefits of being near humans outweighed the cost of fear. That result confirms something biologists have noticed in many studies and many sites for a long time. Humans did not filter wolf genes with a whip. Humans filtered with presence. Wolves that were too bold, we killed with stone spears at Przedmostí. Wolves that were too fearful, they did not come close enough to pick up leftover bones at Goyet. Did not eat enough, did not reproduce enough. That gene line eliminated itself. These are not animals that humans caught and trained. They are animals that decided at the species level, through thousands of generations, that being near us was worth it. And the reason for that is one of the most beautiful truths in natural history. This is not domestication, this is diplomacy. It happened at the DNA level, through thousands of generations, before either species had a word to call the other. Now let us talk about something no one notices, but once you see it, you cannot unsee. Wolves and humans have the same social software. In the entire animal kingdom, social structure is not a small matter. It is the operating system. It determines who eats first, who mates with whom, who raises whose young, who hunts with whom, who buries whom when they die. Every social animal species has its own software. And that software is almost always different between species, even those very close evolutionarily. Chimpanzees and bonobos are in the same genus, share 99% of DNA, but their social software is completely different. That is why when two different animal species meet in nature, they often do not understand each other, not because of hostility, because the software is incompatible. They read each other's signals like reading a foreign language without a dictionary, but wolves and humans are not like that. Wolf packs of 5 to 10 individuals. Pleistocene hunter-gatherer human bands of 5 to 10 individuals. Wolves hunt cooperatively, chasing prey larger than themselves. Hunter-gatherer humans hunt cooperatively, chasing prey larger than themselves. Wolves share portions according to rank. The alpha eats first, the whole pack eats in order, no one is completely starved. Hunter-gatherer humans share portions according to social rank. The best hunters, the respected elders, nursing mothers are given priority. Wolves have alloparenting. Non-mother wolves still help raise the pups, share food, guard the den. Hunter-gatherer humans have grandparents, aunts, uncles raising children together. Sarah Blaffer-Hurdy at the University of California, Davis calls this cooperative breeding, one of the core differences between humans and other primates. Wolves have a single alpha male-female pair, reproducing in the pack. Hunter-gatherer humans have a one-couple per band model common across Pleistocene cultures. Wolves have territory patrols, marking boundaries with urine and howls at dusk. Hunter-gatherer humans have territories, marking with cave art, pillars, ancestral graves buried at the borders. Wolves teach their young to hunt. The mother wolf brings injured prey back to the den for the pups to practice killing. Hunter-gatherer humans teach their children to hunt. The father brings small prey for the children to practice cutting meat, practicing shooting. Wolves have a greeting ceremony when the pack reunites after separating for a few hours, licking faces, wagging tails, making high-pitched sounds. Hunter-gatherer humans have greeting rituals, hugging, cheek rubbing, singing greeting songs. Wolves cry when a pack member dies. The pack stands around the body, howling long, not eating for many hours. Hunter-gatherer humans have funeral rituals. Not coincidence. These are two softwares running in parallel on two different hardwares. Evolutionary biologists call this phenomenon convergent social evolution, when two unrelated species independently evolve the same solution to the same problem. What is the problem here? The problem of how to hunt prey larger than yourself without dying. The answer of both species is identical. Cooperation in small hierarchical groups, with fair portion sharing, with shared child rearing, with funerals for the fallen. Wolves found this answer about 1 million years ago. Humans found it about 2 million years ago. Two species, two families, two different continents, separated by 40 million years of evolution from the last common ancestor, independently developed the same social protocol without knowing of each other's existence. When two species evolve the same social software independently, and they meet, what happens is not random, it is compatibility. It is two different operating systems, but both able to run a common protocol. Wolves do not need to learn human language to understand people hunting in packs. Humans do not need to learn wolf language to understand a pack has an alpha. Both already knew beforehand, etched in DNA from before the first encounter. This is compatibility at the evolutionary level. It was already there, waiting for the two sides to meet. There is a cave in Belgium that every serious discussion of this story must return to. Goyet Cave, Namur Province, southern Belgium, a limestone cave system used by prehistoric people for tens of thousands of years. Radiocarbon dating, 35,700 years Cal BP. The group of Michi-Germont-Prey at the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences excavated in 2009. They found a skull. They measured, they studied, they compared with hundreds of other ancient wolf skulls stored in European museums for 100 years. And the conclusion was not what they expected. Not a wolf, not yet a dog. It is a Palaeodog, a creature in transition, a creature between two species. The skull is 15% smaller than ancient wolves. The snout is about 20% shorter. The palate is wider. The lower jaw is higher and shorter, more suitable for gnawing small bones rather than tearing large meat. This is not a sick wolf, not a hybrid between two different packs, not a hungry wolf. This is a different creature. The first creature in evolutionary history carrying enough traits to no longer fully belong to the wild, but also not yet fully belonging to humans. And in the Czech Republic, nearly 1,000 kilometers east of Goyet, in the same Gravettian period, about 30,000 years ago, there was another site telling the same story. Predmostí. This is the shocking point. Stable isotope analysis in the bones shows the Predmostí Palaeodog ate reindeer and musk ox meat. Wolves at the same site at the same time ate mammoth carcasses. Two completely different diets, same archaeological site, same geological time. Same species on taxonomic paper, but eating two different kinds of meat, foraging in two completely different ways. Hervé Bocherens at the University of Tübingen confirmed this with independent isotopic analysis in 2015. What does that mean? It means someone shared food. Not rotting mammoth carcasses that every carnivore in the area came to dig up. Wild wolves, cave hyenas, giant weasels, crows, all ate mammoth carcasses. But reindeer meat, fresh meat, good meat, meat that costs calories and risk to hunt, selectively given to some specific animals, not to others. 35,700 years ago, before the Chauvet cave paintings, before the Venus of Willendorf statue, before most of what we call human culture. Someone sat by the fire and shared dinner with an animal not of their own species, and did so long enough, regularly enough, for enough generations, for it to be recorded in the carbon and nitrogen isotope ratios of the bones of later dog descendants. But this is the harder question. Who shared the food does not matter much. The important question is, what made the first wolf trusting enough to stand near the fire without running? Because humans can hold a piece of reindeer meat and offer it thousands of times over thousands of nights. If the wolf does not step closer, nothing happens. That piece of food rots on the snow. The wolf goes looking for mammoth carcasses a few kilometers away, like all its ancestors did. The story ends before it begins. No Goyet Palaeodog, no Predmostí Palaeodog, no 1 billion dogs 40,000 years later. The decision was not in human hands. The decision was in the DNA of some specific wolves. Those wolves carrying a rare variant that we will talk about in the next part. Now let us break the biggest myth in this whole story. The popular story is, humans are smart, humans lure, humans force the wolf. No one can force an apex predator into anything. The group of David Elzinga, Ryan Kulwicki, and Alex Capaldi at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, Tennessee Knoxville, and Valparaiso published in February 2025 in Proceedings of the Royal Society B. They built an agent-based model, a computer simulation of the evolution of a single trait in ancient dog groups, the level of tolerance toward humans. The question they posed, the long-standing counter-argument saying, wolves self-domesticating in 15,000 years is too fast evolutionarily, is it true? The model ran thousands of times. Result, not too fast. Natural selection is strong enough to create two clearly separated populations, wolves remaining original, ancient dogs with high human tolerance, within a 15,000-year time frame. What is the selection pressure here? It is humans. It is the fire circle. It is the piece of reindeer meat shared with this one, but not that one. It is the bold wolf stabbed to death with a stone spear. It is the shy wolf not coming close enough to eat, not reproducing enough, the gene line eliminating itself. Only pressure present consistently through thousands of generations is strong enough to do this. That pressure is humans. But this is the point I want you to remember in this entire video. Alex Capaldi stated a sentence that I have read over and over. He said, "When female wolves choose mates, they must choose males with a similar level of tameness as themselves. This is not pure natural selection. This is sexual selection. The female wolf decides. The female wolf looks at other males and decides where the species' genes will go. Humans are not in that equation. Humans can share meat, can light fires, can stand near or far. But in the end, when the mating season comes at the end of the Siberian winter, the female wolf looks at the males around her and chooses. She chooses the male with just enough tameness, not too wild to not approach the benefits of humans, not too tame to become prey for stone spears. She chooses the middle, and other female wolves also choose the middle, without coordinating. Through enough generations, that middle becomes the majority, becomes the vast majority, becomes the new wolf, becomes the Palaeodog, becomes the dog. This is model 1. Wolves choose themselves. But there is an opposing model that also has solid evidence. Adam Brum at Griffith University in Australia, Michi Germonpré in Belgium, Lucas Congolos at the University of Sydney published in Frontiers in Psychology in 2023. They proposed the active human model. Argument: humans did not wait for wolves to come on their own. Humans went and took wolf pups from dens. They used the analogy with Australian Aboriginal people. The Pitjantjatjara people in Central Australia raid dingo dens when the Pleiades star cluster rises on the horizon. This is not random. This is a structured ritual tied to the astronomical cycle and sacred dingo fertility rituals. Aboriginal people take dingo pups 2 to 3 weeks old, when their eyes are still closed, when the mother wolf is most easily distracted. Women nurse them with breast milk. Brum argues, the same thing could have happened in Gravettian Europe. The mammoth bone megalithic tombs at Predmostí, Dolní Věstonice, Mezirix, Udinovo, where hundreds of hunter-gatherers gathered seasonally, large fire circles, wolf dens nearby, children there, wolf pups captured. This is the point I must emphasize. The two hypotheses, wolf self-domestication and active human taking, have been fiercely debated for 30 years. Conferences split into factions, papers rebut each other. Archaeologists say the geneticists do not understand the cultural context. Geneticists say the archaeologists do not read the gene data. But in 2022, the Hansen-Wheat study published in Ecology and Evolution, something that both sides had to acknowledge. The group of Christina Hansen-Wheat at Stockholm University proved a simple yet shocking thing. Human-directed attachment behavior directed toward humans, exists as standing variation in modern wolf populations. What does that mean? It means it was already in the DNA of some specific wolves before humans appeared to do anything. Not every wolf, only a small percentage, maybe 1%, maybe 5%, no one knows exactly. But that percentage was there, in the DNA. Before 40,000 years ago, before the Goyet Palaeodog, before the Predmostí fire circle, before the first human thought of sharing reindeer meat with a creature not of their own species, waiting in the DNA, waiting for something to happen, waiting for someone worthy. This changes everything. You do not create that ability in the wolf. You do not make the wolf love humans. That female wolf was not waiting for anyone to choose her. She chooses, and there is nothing humans can do to force her or to stop her. Imagine this moment. In a dark den at the end of the Siberian winter, a pregnant female wolf. Her belly is heavy. She is about to give birth. She could give birth anywhere. A den deep in the forest 50 kilometers from humans. Absolutely safe. A den by a stream 20 kilometers from humans, far enough not to be heard. A den on a mountain 100 kilometers from humans, where her ancestors have given birth for 800,000 years. Where does she choose to give birth? She chooses the den 2 kilometers from the human fire circle, close enough to hear human voices in the night, far enough not to be stabbed by a stone spear when leaving the den. That is not random, that is investment. She invests her offspring in a future near humans. Wolves have no lawyers to write contracts. Wolves have no courts to sue when the agreement is broken. Wolves have only one thing to invest, the DNA of their kind. And she decided, invest here. This is what I want you to try. Next time you sit next to your dog, notice how it looks into your eyes. Not looking at your fingers, not looking at your mouth, looking straight into the eyes. Humans are the only primate species on the planet with white sclera, the white of the eye part around the iris. Every other primate, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, all 200 documented primate species, have dark sclera, nearly the same color as the iris. If you look into a chimpanzee's eyes, you hard to know where it is looking. It could be looking at you, could be looking at the apple next to it, could be looking at another chimpanzee behind you. You cannot read it. Why do humans have white sclera? Michael Tomasello at the Max Planck Institute calls this the cooperative eye hypothesis. White sclera evolved to let conspecifics know what one is looking at. Gaze is language. White sclera makes gaze readable from a distance. That is a huge survival cost, easily detected by predators in the dark, only worth the trade-off if the communication benefit in the group is too large. But this is the bigger shock. In the entire non-primate animal kingdom on this planet, there is only one group that understands that white sclera. Only one non-primate species that can follow the direction of a human's gaze and understand what the human is pointing at. That is the wolf. And the descendants of the wolf, dogs. Adam McCloskey at Eötvös Loránd University Budapest did the classic experiment. Showed chimpanzees, the closest DNA relatives of humans, sharing 98.8% of genes. A human pointing at one of two cups, one cup with food hidden inside. Chimpanzees do not understand. Chimpanzees choose randomly, 50-50, as if the human pointed at nothing. 6-week-old dogs understand immediately. No training needed, no reward needed. The dog looks at the finger, follows the pointing direction, chooses the correct cup nearly 100% of the time. But this is the point that breaks everything. The Austrian Wolf Science Center near Vienna. Zofia Virani and colleagues experimented with wild wolves socialized from a young age, not dogs, wild wolves. Show the wolf a human pointing at one of two buckets, one bucket with food. Wolves choose the correct bucket according to the pointing direction at a rate significantly higher than random, with statistical significance. What does that mean? It means the ability to read human gaze was already present in the wolf lineage even before becoming dogs, already present in the DNA from before the Goyet Palaeodog appeared, waiting to be activated by contact. Not whales, not elephants. Not octopuses, even though octopuses are famous for intelligence, solving complex puzzles in the lab. Not orangutans, not crows, even though crows can learn to remember human faces, use tools. Not chimpanzees, not bonobos, not dolphins. In the entire animal kingdom, among millions of species studied, there is only one lineage, the lineage of that female wolf at the edge of the darkness 40,000 years ago, that understands the language of human gaze. Not because they are smarter than crows or chimpanzees, because they co-evolved with humans, 40,000 years both species looking at each other across the fire circle, learning each other's language, writing a wordless dictionary into the DNA of both. This is not training, this is not something you teach your dog, this is language. A private communication channel that has existed for 40,000 years between two species, built bit by bit, written into the DNA of both. Your dog knows how to read your eyes because its ancestors rid the eyes of your ancestors for 1,500 generations. When your dog looks at you, it is not guessing, it is reading. And then there is the factor that everyone overlooks, the recognition factor. Why did wolves choose humans? The real harder question is, why not lions? Why not bears? Why not tigers? All three are apex predators. All three encountered wolves in evolutionary history spanning millions of years. All three have no trusting relationship with wolves. No lion Palaeodog, no bear dog, no tiger descendants following humans. What made humans different enough that only humans were chosen by wolves? Lions hunt alone most of the time, only group hunt when needed to take down large prey. Lion prides do not have a fair portion sharing protocol. The male eats first, eats the most, sometimes bites the females to grab the good meat. Hyenas, a harsh matriarchy matrix. Females dominate absolutely, males at the bottom of the system. No balanced alpha male-female model like wolves and hunter-gatherer humans. Bears, nearly completely solitary. The mother drives the cubs away at 2 years old, never meets again. No pack for wolves to recognize. Tigers, solitary. Individual territories of hundreds of square kilometers, meet only to mate then separate immediately. Leopards, solitary, small territories, avoid each other. No one on this list has social software matching hunter-gatherer humans, only wolves. Only uniquely wolves in the entire apex predator kingdom have a balanced pack structure, portion sharing by rank without starving anyone, shared child rearing, pack territory patrols. When that female wolf looked into the fire circle 40,000 years ago and saw 5 to 10 humans sitting around, sharing reindeer meat by rank, with a leader pair sitting close, with young ones protected in the middle by the group, with elders given soft portions to chew, what did she see? She did not see another species. She saw a pack, organized like her own pack, with alpha, with sub-alpha, with young prioritized. And the humans by the fire circle, when looking out into the darkness and seeing wolf eyes reflecting the firelight, what did they see? They saw another tribe. The pack recognized the tribe. The tribe recognized the pack. And both decided, at the same time, at both ends of the fire circle, better to try trusting each other than hunting each other. Now let us be honest about something, because this video would be irresponsible if it did not say it. Not every wolf that chose to trust humans survived. Jasmine Ramos Madrigal and colleagues at the University of Copenhagen sequenced the genomes of Pleistocene Siberian wolves, including the Taimyr sample 35,000 years old, the Yana sample 32,000 years old, published in Current Biology in 2021. Heartbreaking conclusion: many ancient Siberian wolf lineages went completely extinct, left no descendants, did not contribute to modern dogs, did not contribute to modern wolves, vanished from the evolutionary tree. Among them there may have been, not yet precisely identified because ancient DNA has degraded too much, those wolf lineages that first tried trusting humans, those female wolves that stepped out of the darkness even before the female wolf we know. those that invested the DNA of their kind into a future near humans and left nothing, no name, no story, just scattered bone samples that researchers record in the extinct lineage column. Remember the Goyet Palaeodog from earlier? The transitional creature 35,700 years ago? This is the point I did not say right then because I wanted you to feel its beauty before hearing the truth. The Goyet Palaeodog does not lead to modern dogs. No direct descendants. That beautiful creature is a dead branch on the evolutionary tree. The Predmostí Palaeodog also does not lead to modern dogs. Many other Palaeodog branches found in Europe, Central Asia, Siberia do not lead to modern dogs. Bergstrom and Skogland confirmed clearly in Nature 2022 there were independent domestication lineages that completely disappeared. We have 1 billion dogs today because 1 or 2 wolf lineages survived, while dozens of other lineages tried and failed. Not every marriage between 2 species is smooth. Wolf attacks on humans still happen when boundaries collapse. Human attacks on wolves still happen when the agreement is broken. The Yarralin people in northern Australia have a custom of poisoning adult dingoes with immoral sexual behavior according to their cultural standards. Wolves mating with siblings, with their own offspring, with orchid extract. Deborah Bird Rose recorded it fully in ethnographic research in 1992, the book Dingo Makes Us Human. The boundary between pack and tribe always had to be maintained. When wolves cross the boundary, they die. When humans betray the agreement, wolves leave. There were long periods in history, the widespread wolf hunting era in Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries, when bounties were placed on every wolf's head, when all of England wiped wolves from its territory, when humans killed wolves indiscriminately. Wolves lost trust. Only in the 20th century did restoration efforts begin. But the wound remains, the pattern repeats throughout history. It is not a smooth, flawless marriage. It is a marriage with violence, with betrayal, with childlessness. It is a relationship where both sides have stepped away from each other many times, failed many times. Many wolf lineages died because they placed trust in the wrong place, placed trust in the wrong human tribe, placed trust at the wrong time. Many human tribes killed entire packs of ancestral dogs, for reasons we no longer know, perhaps because of hunger, perhaps because of ritual, perhaps because once a dog bit a child and the whole tribe lost trust. The bones of those lineages lie scattered across Eurasia, nameless, descendantless, storyless. In the thousands of Paleolithic caves excavated in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, only a few dozen have identified Palaeodog bones. Most caves have wild wolf bones, but not the bones of companions. They are the bones of wolves killed by humans for skins to make clothes, bones to make tools, teeth to make jewelry. That is the default of history. Humans kill wolves. Wolves avoid humans. Companions are the exception. An exception so rare that every time it happens is recorded in the DNA of modern dogs as a genetic miracle. But what is surprising is not that this relationship exists. What is surprising is that it exists even when it has collapsed many times. Both wolves and humans keep coming back to try. In Europe, in the Near East, in East Asia, at the same time, independently, without prior arrangement. After every failure, after every dead branch, after every tribe that killed its dog pack, there is still another female wolf, in another place, at another time, stepping out of the darkness and trying again. There is still another human tribe at the other end of the steppe, sharing a piece of reindeer meat with a pair of eyes glittering in the night. Something in both of these species makes them, after every failure, still not give up. There is a final layer I wanted to leave until now because it is the part that keeps me from sleeping after reading all these studies. There are 1 billion dogs on the planet today, ranking only after mice, domesticated livestock, and humans themselves. 1 billion. Anubis dogs guiding into the afterlife in ancient Egypt. Arabian sheepdogs guarding goat herds across the Sahara Desert. Inuit sled dogs pulling across the Arctic in the long polar night. Basenji dogs hunting with pygmy people in the Congo forest. Dogs detecting cancer through breath odor in English hospitals. Dogs guiding the blind through New York streets. Rescue dogs sniffing for living people under earthquake rubble in Turkey. Small dogs sitting in the lap of an elderly person who has lost their spouse, warming the final afternoons. All of them, every dog you have ever petted, ever heard of, ever seen in movies, trace back to 1 or 2 specific wolf populations in Eurasia 30,000 to 40,000 years ago. Bergstrom and Skoglund wrote clearly in Nature 2022, no ancient wolf genome has yet been identified as an exact match with the ancestral dog lineage. That first female wolf we still have not found. No one knows where she lived. Perhaps Siberia, perhaps Central Asia, perhaps the Near East. No one knows how she died. No bones, no direct DNA, no grave. But she was real. She must have been real, because of 1 billion descendants. Loop back to the Siberian night 40,000 years ago. The female wolf at the edge of the darkness, the fire circle 15 meters away. She could have turned her back like every ancestor had done for 800,000 years. She did not. She took one step closer, then another step. Then she lay down at a safe distance and slept in the light of another species. The next morning she was still there. And every time you look at your dog and it looks back, through 40,000 years, through 1 billion descendants, those same eyes. That same question in those eyes, is this my pack? And you, without thinking, without knowing evolutionary history, without reading Bergstrom or Elzinga, without knowing the name of the Goyet Palaeodog or the IFT88 gene, just stroke the head and answer, yes. This is your pack. That is you. That is what you have been and are. Not the domesticator, not the master, the one who was chosen. And every dog in this world knows that before you do. If you want to hear more evolutionary stories that science has only just pieced together in the past few years, about who we really are when looking through the eyes of other species, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And leave a comment with your dog's name, because every name is a living link of that female wolf at the edge of the darkness 40,000 years ago.